Chapter 1. The Roots That Remember. Some trees grow leaves, others grow memory. Old saying of the Marshfolk. When I was a child, I used to sit by the great tree at the end of the dirt path. I don't remember when I started doing it. I only remember that no one else did. Maybe it was because the path bent away from the main road and fell into the lower land, where the grass never dried and your boots stuck to the soil if you stood still too long. Maybe because the branches of the tree hung so low they brushed the ground like old arms, heavy and tired. Or maybe because the earth was too soft and too green, even in the heat of summer. But I liked it there. They teased me for being small, for crying too easily, for speaking too softly, for being afraid to fight. So I hid, not in buildings or corners, but beneath roots, deep roots, roots that curled into hollows I could slide into like a nest. I'd fold my knees up and lean against the damp bark, and the tree would shelter me without a word. I'd cry there sometimes, until I fell asleep. And sometimes I didn't cry. I just listened. At first, I thought I was alone. But children think many things. Sometimes I'd talk, whispering into the soil as if it could hold secrets. And sometimes, not often, I thought someone whispered back. I had a friend then. I don't remember his face. I don't remember his voice. But I remember sitting beside him, in that same place, under the branches that moved without wind. We didn't play much. We just sat there. He told stories. Not stories from the village, with heroes and saints and gods who never made mistakes. His were different, quiet and strange. He told me of old wars no one remembered, of nameless kings who walked barefoot into battle, of banners dyed in blood and rivers that refused to carry the fallen. One story was about a warrior who never spoke and never bled. They said he was cursed to feel the wounds of everyone else. When he died, the field around him sprouted red flowers, even in the cold. Another was about a girl who hid in the hollows of a tree for 100 days while the sky rained ash. When the world opened again, she couldn't speak any longer, but the birds followed her. A third story spoke of a battle so quiet it was never recorded. The dead weren't buried. They vanished, swallowed by the roots of the forest that had once fed them. I listened, always. During gatherings in the village square, the elders would sometimes speak of similar things. Old legends, the song of the soil, they called them. But they were always vague, always softened. Their stories had heroes. Mine didn't. Only loss, only memory. My friend knew how each war ended, which side won, which flag fell first, what color the sky turned when the arrows began to fall. He remembered it all, and I believed him. Other children would sometimes wander near the tree, yelling my name in the cruel way kids do, like it didn't belong to me. They'd throw clumps of dirt, mock the way I talked, try to pull me out from under the roots, but they never quite got close enough. One day, one of them slipped. The leaves were wet and clung together like skin. He landed hard, arms flailing. Another time, one boy caught his foot between two roots while running, and fell so fast he tore his sleeve on the bark. They'd laugh, but only after backing away, their faces pale. They stopped coming after a while. I told myself my friend had scared them off, maybe by knowing where they'd step, or how to twist a root just enough that it looked like an accident. But he never admitted it. He just looked at me with eyes I now realize I never actually saw. When I think back, I don't remember him ever climbing out from the tree, only being there, as if he belonged to the place more than I did. Sometimes a branch would creak when I was speaking, Sometimes a leaf would fall, brushing against my shoulder. Once, a bird dropped a feather directly onto my lap, though the sky was empty. I started to think the tree listened too. It never moved. Not really. But sometimes, when I sat still long enough, I felt it shift. Not in the way wind bends would. This was something slower, deeper, like breath through stone. I never told anyone about it. Not my mother, not the teacher, not the priest. They wouldn't understand. They thought I was just strange, quiet, too slow to grow, too dreamy. But I wasn't dreaming. That place was real, the hollow beneath the tree, the smell of the moss, the way the light filtered through the leaves like soft green smoke. And my friend, he was real too. I remember once asking him where he learned the stories. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "The earth remembers what the people forget." I didn't understand then. I do now. Sometimes. I think he was part of the tree, or maybe the tree was part of him. But back then, I didn't question it. I just kept going, day after day, year after year. The other children stopped bothering me, not because I changed, but because the path to the tree changed. It got harder to find, muddier, more tangled, and the others said the air there made them feel watched. And I never felt watched. I felt seen. I didn't know I'd be exiled, that my mother and I would be driven from the village after the council meeting, that they'd blame her for what happened to the well, or the dead calf, or the cracks in the church floor. I didn't know we'd be sent away with only what we could carry. But I did go back to the tree, one last time. I didn't cry that day. I sat quietly, waited, listened. He wasn't there. The place was the same, but empty. Not in a sad way, in a waiting way, like something had already passed through. I placed my hand on the root where I used to rest my head, and it felt warm. Not sun warm, not heat warm, alive warm. I left without saying goodbye. Maybe he followed, maybe he stayed. But sometimes, even now, I dream of that place. The roots curled like arms, the green light, the stories, and in the dream, I am still a child, curled up between the bones of the world, and the world remembers me.